Welcome back to part 2 of our Mondrian-inspired geometric composition. To complete today's objective, we're going to need a pencil, we're going to need our paper from last time, and we're going to need our ruler. Last time we divided the paper into 10 rectangles and squares. Today, our job is to divide these shapes into 3 groups and decorate each group separately. I like to begin by marking my shapes into their 3 groups. I do that by marking some of them with a number 1. The second group will all have a number 2, and the third group will all have a number 3. Now I make sure to draw those lightly because I need to erase those numbers so they don't show up in my final artwork. Now, one of the goals when we're dividing these shapes is to try to keep shapes from touching the same number. I'll show you how it works. We're gonna start with this shape because it's touching 2 other shapes. So starting here, if this shape is touching a 2, it can't be a 2. And if it's touching a 3, it can't be a 3. So what's left? A 1. And that's gonna lead us to this shape. It's touching a 3 and it's touching a 1. So what's left? A 2. And we continue all the way to the end, trying to use that method to spread our shapes out. So this shape right here is touching a 2 and a 1. So it has to be a 3. And now that means this shape right here is touching a 1 and a 3. So it has to be a 2. This shape is touching a 2 and a 1. So it has to be a 3. We can do either of these first. Let's do this one. This shape is touching a 3 and a 2. So it's going to be a 1. And now we're down to this last shape. And it's touching a 1, a 2, and a 3. So now you have to make the decision. Which shape or which group does this need to be? This one is touching that 3 really closely. They're sharing this whole edge. It might look weird if 2 3s are touching with so much space connected together. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking that because it's only touching this little bit of a 2, that'd probably be the least disruptive to the artwork. So I'm going to make this one a 2. If you decided that your last shape or your confusing shape needed to be a 1 because all the 1s are little, that would be okay. Or if you decided it needed to be a 3 for a different reason, that's fine. The goal is to try to balance all the shapes. And now that they're balanced, our next task is to put a pattern in each group. So we're going to assign a pattern to a group. Now, your pattern could be something that you draw freehand or with a ruler. I'm going to do a little bit of both. So how about for the 1s, we're going to make them have these wiggly stripes. Now, while you're drawing your patterns, be aware of this idea. You're gonna have to color all of these. So the more complicated that you make the pattern, the longer it's gonna take you to color it. So that's a 1. I'm going to continue on. I'm going to think of a pattern for the 2s, and I'm going to think of a different pattern for the 3s. My patterns are complete. I showed you 3 different ways of making patterns. You can freehand draw your patterns. You can use your ruler to help draw patterns, or you can find something to trace to draw patterns. Remember, the goal of this is to balance the shapes out. So we want them to be spread out so that we have a little bit of each pattern in all the parts of the artwork. Well, that's the end of part 2. Come back next week for part 3 when we talk about choosing colors and coloring our final artwork. Have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye.